12 noon. Welcome to Plan to Be Your Best Live. I'm Rick Cram. Before we begin, let me just share with you that a few weeks ago, I had a stroke and I'm making progress. I'm recovering. I'm heading in the right direction. I'm okay. It's been serious. It's been one of those experiences that leads me to ask you this question. When something new happens on top of what you're already dealing with, what happens to your resilience? How do you respond? Do you respond to that new layer of pressure, that new layer of stress, something that might be painful, something that might be even upsetting, and again, perhaps overwhelming on top of overwhelming? What happens with your resilience? I'd like to share with you a few thoughts. While I won't go into the details of my stroke, I wanted to share with you two things. One is it's a reminder of the work that you and I are doing here. It ended up being an opportunity and continues to be an opportunity for me to flex my resilience and all that I've learned from it with this new challenge, this new opportunity to be resilient. And I'm here because I missed you. Nikki and I were here 2 weeks ago to talk about and introduce to you the second of the 8 paths of intentionality, the Listen Path. And that I found has been on my mind an awful lot. I thought, let's do a little bit more work regarding that communication skill, the communication strategy, and the different skills that go into listening, perhaps listening in a way that you've never listened before, both to yourself and to others, and even in a way to see what it might look like for what you might be able to do to encourage, at least to model for others, how others can better listen to you. Listening, I found, is not just a communication strategy. It's not a matter of skills, but it is a response that when I realized something wasn't quite right, as my stroke was setting on, the first thing that I did was listen. I listened to what was going on physically, and I was tuning into and listening to the different thoughts that I had, like such as what's going on, and what steps do I take, such as and I did dial 911. And it occurred to me as I'm reflecting on that, and in these past few weeks of making progress with my recovery, is that listening has been an integral part of navigating this. And it's been a chance for me to even observe for myself, right? How am I using the Plan to Be Your Best strategies and skills, the different paths of intentionality, including the listen one? And I'll share with you a few thoughts, as well as invite you to consider for yourself. Do you look at listening as a strategy, something to do, or do you look at it as something that's burdensome, something I've got to do? I know I've got to do this, or I've got to do this more intentionally. What if you actually looked at it, listening to whatever might be new, whatever's coming across your desk, whatever is coming across in life, something new that is creating both a challenge, perhaps more heaviness, just when you don't need it most. But what if you looked at listening as not only a response to what's going on, but as something that creates a bridge between another path of intentionality, and that is now. The N in plan stands for now. The L in plan to be your best stands for listen. And in a way, in a very real way, in a very practical way, listening is something that happens in the now, in the moment. It is something that we use to make the moment what it can be at its best. And that is an opportunity to learn, to create some stillness, to create a greater depth of connection, let's say first and foremost with yourself. As I've been in touch with some of you during the past couple of weeks and sharing with you the news of my stroke and so forth, and I missed being on live last Friday. I just, my bandwidth is such that I needed to give myself grace and not go live, but rather rest up everyone, the doctors, the nurses, and so forth. The physical therapist who was just here a little while ago keeps reminding me, rest, 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 and it's so true. But I missed you, and I missed the time that we have together, like now. I missed being here for you. I missed an opportunity to learn how are you. Some of us have been exchanging messages, and I thrive on that. And it's as if in our exchange of emails and texting and so forth, that we are, and I notice this about you, you're good listeners. And you ask caring, compassionate questions, and you show your eagerness to listen, and you show how you are listening in the way that you respond, in the way that you're so encouraging. And likewise, to that point, I want you to know that I'm here to listen to you. I'm live on YouTube, and actually I'm going to double check to make sure. I am on live here, that I'm coming across. It is Friday, very good. And I'm here to see any particular messages that you might have, any questions you've got regarding Plan to Be Your Best as you navigate pain. If you've got any questions about a stroke, I'm learning a tremendous amount, and I'm doing an awful lot of listening and reading and researching what to expect now. I've never had a stroke before, and so this is all a very new experience. So I'm leading with curiosity. I'm leading with certainly a hunger for understanding what to expect. I'm eager to know all that I can so that I can flex the different resilience muscles within me to think through, all right, how am I going to frame my perspective through this? Which is clear to me I need to, such as I've already been doing for 6 years now since the 7th surgery on my left knee, taking a long-term perspective on this, because there are no short-term quick answers to the challenges that I've got since that last surgery and the daily pain. So I'm practiced at sort of putting on a coat or putting on a hat that says I am going to take a long-term patient perspective with this. That's the only way to approach it. Otherwise, if I apply something that you and I are all very aware of, that urgency and dire, desperate need for relief, for help, for others to listen and others to understand, for us to create a bridge between that listen path of intentionality and the now, so that we can actually quiet the moment. It's part and parcel of what we've talked about recently, and it is pausing and responding to what's going on with a willingness, even an eagerness to listen, because it creates a kind of calm that's so needed, especially when the storms of the mental journey, the emotional upset, the emotional journey, and all the stress that comes with that. It creates a calm that is so needed, because it burns energy to have that urgency, to have answers, good answers, worthy answers, questions that are worthy, questions that are worthy of having answers. There's a burning need for those answers, and sometimes they just aren't there yet. The idea of taking the listening path of intentionality and using it to do this for the now moment, to create the stillness, to create the calm, to take urgency out of the equation, to even take emotion out of the equation, so that we can actually gain what we can for only this moment, because all that really matters is this moment. And to a great extent, this is one of the factors of listening that I've found especially important since the stroke, and that is figuring out what is important. When we listen, even to ourselves, to what's going on in our thoughts, what's going on physically, what's going on emotionally, even what's going on spiritually, the more we can actually listen and understand, then we get a better sense of what's truly important. I must admit, I sat here nearly 3 weeks ago experiencing the symptoms of the stroke and was listening to myself having such thoughts as, I don't want to bother the EMTs. What will people think if I call 911 only to learn that this was nothing serious, wasn't something significant? So let me ask you, we can think in terms of, and as we listen to our own thoughts, we might find that the response of listening can be hijacked by fears. What ifs? What will other people think? What if I dial 911 and I didn't really need to after all? What are those hijacking thoughts, feelings? Maybe it's something that comes up from the subconscious, from the depth that you might not even sort of be aware of, but it's something that will say, I'm not going to call, or I'm not going to listen. What keeps you from listening? And that's one of the beauties about how two or more paths of intentionality can work together for your resilience, for your well-being. Listening is the second path of intentionality for a reason. It's something that we can so easily forget to do. And it's something that we can so much gain goodness from early on in thinking about, how do I understand my own unique resilience, and how do I feed it with energy? Listening is one of the key skills that gives you the ability that entering into any one of the 8 paths of intentionality creates. It's through the listening that you're able to glean what will create new energy for your resilience. No matter how tired you might be, no matter how exhausted your resilience may be, it's through listening and understanding and figuring out what's truly important in the moment that sparks new positive energy for your resilience, for your hope, and for you to actually experience, yes, my best is greater than the pain. You're able to say, when you do this over and over again, and in effect, it's an act of resilience to again keep coming back to, I'm going to respond to this challenge in front of me in this moment with a greater degree, an elevated amount of listening, to the point where you're able to realize, your best is greater than the pain. So we've been considering what keeps us from listening. It might be the racing. It might be that tempest of thought and emotion that we're caught up in it. It might be a fear of what if. What if I listen to myself and I act on it and I end up being wrong? What will others think? I will say this, that I listen to myself in those moments, as I can tell these symptoms were alarming, and I went ahead and called 911. I knew it was the right thing to do. And even while the EMTs were arriving, and even while they were saying, I don't think you're having a stroke. And even at the emergency room, a couple of hours later, when they're looking, diagnosing, and so forth, and saying, I don't think you had a stroke, only to discover after a few important tests like MRIs and CAT scans, the doctor came in and said, you've had a stroke. Actually, a stroke shower, 3 small strokes. And but I went ahead and listened and acted on it with what listening does most for us, perhaps in the moment. Creates a sense of calm, clarity, and insight. Call it wisdom. What is the wisdom that you can gain and use? What are the insights that you can gain and use if you pause right now? Take a deep breath and listen. What might you find that just by pausing and listening, that you're seeing yourself act with resilience, you're seeing yourself apply resilience, you are being resilient, you've got resilience in you, you are resilience. And listening, it helps invite you further into the moment where it's quiet, fewer distractions, you focus on what's important, you're able to make decisions with greater clarity and greater confidence. Understanding what you need, what's important for only the moment, because that's what, in any given moment, all that really matters. And you're worth it to pause, give yourself permission to listen. And let me encourage you to practice that over and over again. So the idea of listening is something that it, again, is a response. It is a communication skill. And just as another word for communication is connection, it's through communicating that we connect with others and with ourselves, that we connect with ourselves in a way that, how should I put this, is sometimes the last thing that seems either both doable or comes with a question of what good will come from it. The idea of, for example, with navigating pain, sometimes the overwhelming thought or thoughts that I'm having are doing everything they can to keep me from being slower, calmer, more patient. There's a speed to the pain response. There's a pace of the pain response that can be hard to, like riding a horse, pulling it on the reins and slowing the horse down. What do you do to slow down so that you can open your mind, open your curiosity, open every bit of yourself, your entire being, to simply listen and be in the moment? Listening and gaining insight, understanding, figuring out what's important, that listening is one of the keys to creating what we need so much in the moment, and that is a compelling now. Something about the now moment that is compelling. It says, this is now clear to me. I now know what I have to do, whether it's a new thought, a new emotion, or take some kind of action. What makes it compelling is the clarity and knowing that it's right. And it might be a thought of choosing to congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back for being resilient. I know some of you are in a tremendous amount of pain, and it's been going on for a long, long time. And you share with me how challenging it is. I get it. I see you. It's as if the daily pain that I have been experiencing since the seventh surgery and the feeding my own resilience, living and walking on a path of growing and looking for ways to add fuel to my resilience on a day-to-day basis, led me into this and guided me, if you will, early into this journey of um, recovering from and responding to the stroke. That there are times when I've been able to say, I've got this. I've never been more resilient. And what got me to the point of being able to say, I've got this. My resilience is strong. I've lived with and continue to live with extraordinary pain every day. What I'm experiencing now pales in comparison. I got this. It's through listening and appreciating and acknowledging your resilience that you can get to the point where you can say, and make it a compelling moment, I got this. You've got it. When you frequently write to me and share with me the details of the pain, how tough it is, and how my heart goes out to you. And as you know, even though I say it often, I could never mean it more than I do in this moment. I'm a holder of hope for you. Whatever the pain points may be, whatever the pressure may be, whatever the sources of frustration or heartache might be, whatever is difficult to accept, I'm a holder of hope for you. So I invite you, listen to your resilience. Give yourself permission to listen to yourself say, you know what, with everything that I've gone through, I'm doing this as hard as it is, as difficult as it is, with all that comes with it, I'm doing this. And when something new comes along, maybe it's a new wave of pain or another sleepless night or another wave of grief, that in the stillness, in the now, when you listen patiently, sincerely, openly, honestly, listen, you're able to hear that voice of resilience in you. And if it's exhausted, you've got that chance to feed it. Feed it with more energy, with more hope. Encourage yourself. Allow me to encourage you. Connect with more people who are encouragers. Don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call them and say, I could use a dose of your wonderful encouragement, because you're worth it. And in doing so, you're giving that other person a gift to let them know how much you appreciate and value their encouragement, a gift where they're able to exercise that and share their encouragement, because the encouragement they give you is going to flow right back to them and lift them up. In a way, by asking for help, you're giving others a gift. How might I encourage you? What encouragement do you need today? What would help you listen more than you ever have before, to create such a stillness in now, the now moment, that you listen so keenly that you create a compelling now. Now my knee is letting me know it's not very happy. And so I'm going to care for it. And that means I need to get up and move around for a few minutes and maybe ice it. Or maybe today I'll give it a little bit of a treat, a heating pad. So I'm curious to know your thoughts. What keeps you from listening? Oh, my knee just demanded that I listen to it. There's no denying it. When it's like that, it makes itself known. But this gives me a chance to let you know I'm here doing this work with you because you mean so much to me. Encouraging you means so much to me. In a way, just as I had to show up for you today, it's a reminder, even for myself, that I've got to show up for myself and listen and care for my resilience and care for this more interesting journey that I'm on to recover and rebound from the stroke. The good news is, though it's serious, it's manageable, and I've got a lot to look forward to. And to that point, actually, I was talking to someone who I'll have on as a guest in the weeks ahead when I asked her about resilience. She made an interesting comment. She said, for me, resilience is the ability to look past the challenge, to look past the pain, to look past the moment. And I thought there was a lot to that for holding on and wearing a long-term perspective for this new challenge that I've got. I am looking past the time when I can say I've recovered. And yet I've found that to help look past whatever it is, I've got to be in the now. I've got to listen to understand what it is within me that needs to be able to give myself permission to look past, to look beyond. Looking past is something that you do and I do in the moment. That is a choice of resilience. That's one way that's something to add to your resilience toolkit, using the 3 steps of resilience. Tuning in, which is all about listening, understanding, getting clarity, understanding what's important, then move from tune in to plan. What are my options? I'm going to choose to look past as part of that long-term perspective. And then after tune in, plan, making your choice, being your best, hold on to that thought. Make a 100% commitment to saying, I'm going to look past this. That's what I'm going to hold on to and embrace and just focus on. That's you being your best, whatever it looks like. Even if you need to do it over and over and over again, which is resilience. Doing it, the 3 steps of resilience, doing each one of them over and over again to the point where you find, it's kicked in. I'm looking past. It's a wonderful way to spend time in the moment, choosing to be your best, because your best is greater than the pain. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Please let me know what I can do as a holder of hope for you. And I look forward to seeing you next Friday for the next conversation with Plan to Be Your Best Live. Take care now.